Unfortunately, this video has to start with an apology to DeltaV, its community, its admin team, especially its admin team. No, not even especially, pretty much entirely its admin team, but also its community, and especially its upper management as well. I thought about putting this at the end of the video, but it's probably more important that I clear the air about this in the beginning for more people to see than for me to hide it in the end and for most people to not notice this. I need to first explain how this happened. So, this starts when I actually first started playing Space Station 14. I made an account with a name that I unfortunately cannot tell you because it contains my actual IRL last name, because I just kind of fucking put whatever in there, and that's what I was more commonly known by at the time, before I became Acorn and Acorn a Nut. So, yeah. Anyways, I made an account of that name, and I played on mostly Wisden before, and this was long before Peach Anger, or even Maydickle, for those of you who know Maydickle as a character. And I played on Wisden, and I didn't like it, so I played on DeltaV. And I am not entirely sure what happened because I don't have proper access to what happened, the admin notes, if anything even happened back then. But essentially, I was perma-banned from the server, at least in my memory, on that account. Now, I remembered this, and then I started my YouTube career and Space Station, and the community is, well, mostly accepted me. I'm not exactly perfect, as you can tell by this video. So I was going as Acorn because I wanted to be known as Acorn and joined the community even before I started making Space Station 14 videos. I wanted to be a part of the community fully. And I had to be Acorn because that was my Discord account and like who I was and how I was known in online spaces, even now, obviously. So I made a new account as Acorn so people could recognize me in game. Good decision. I don't regret that. It has been mostly good, I think. Anyways, from there, I encountered the first major problem of being an online content creator. Is everyone asks me my opinion on fucking everything. I say problem because I don't really have an opinion on many things. That's why I don't really respond to most YouTube comments, because the comments ask a question or say something, and I just don't really have anything to say besides, I don't know. So, this resulted in someone asking me my opinion on DeltaV. And I said, I perma-banned from DeltaV because I had that aforementioned weird memory on another account of me getting perma-banned from DeltaV. At this point, I had not used the alternative account ever. So, yeah. I stopped using it for a while. Not ever. A while. Yeah, a while. I've stopped using it for a while. The script I have in front of me is completely useless, so I'm just going off ad-libs now. Anyways, the server I played on, DeltaV, I was asked about it, and I was like, oh, I got perma-banned from there for fucking throwing tomatoes. I think the tomato throwing video and what I was banned for, if I was ever banned, crossed streams and formed that memory. Which, I want to be clear, this is not an excuse. This shouldn't have happened. I should have verified everything before speaking on this, because it's not entirely, no, not even entirely, it's not fair, period, to DeltaV, its community, its players, or its admins, that I've essentially been bad-mouthing it for about a year for my own stupidity and my own false memories. This especially shouldn't be the case because I have false memories all the time. My dreams are very vivid, and that results in me just straight up misremembering things or remembering things that did happen. Is that schizophrenia? I don't know. I don't care. Either way, I knew this was a possibility, and I let it fucking result in me basically talking shit about DeltaV and saying that their admins perma-banned me for no reason after a year. When I made the server tier list video, I mentioned that DeltaV did this, and as such, I would not be reviewing it. An admin on DeltaV, who I don't know the identity. Do I want to share the identity of this admin? Hard question. You know what? They're a senior administrator, so I will. Solaris, which, if you're watching this, thank you so much for this. I wouldn't have been able to confront this, and it probably would have spiraled to something far worse if you didn't do this. They said they apparently checked the records. I am not banned. Now, for my account of Acord, which is the account everyone knows I have, this was true. However, this made me question my previous account, who I, again, will not list because, despite this being an apology, I don't feel like giving out my actual last name to the internet. Especially because John has already been known as my first name, and certain people might use that to do certain things involving me in real life. And I'd prefer that to not be the case. So, I went and logged on to that account for the first time in fucking forever, and the ban wasn't there. Hell, there wasn't even a fucking admin note. It was nothing. Nothing at all. So, I guess I just owe DeltaV an apology. A full apology. I don't know if it was a ban that ever happened, but I'm going to assume it wasn't. And Solaris did say one thing he asked. If you want, feel free to come on by and join us for a round or two. Additionally, one of my channel members, who I didn't know was a fucking DeltaV admin, who I'll be mentioning which one of them is a DeltaV admin, so, yeah, that. Anyways, yeah, they said I should check out DeltaV when I have the time. It ain't the best, but it ain't the worst either. You know who you are. I'm not going to identify you, but, you know. So, I'm going to do that. With the apology out of the way, which, again, DeltaV is entirely blameless. This was entirely my fuck-up. This should not have happened. Let's go and actually properly review DeltaV. Everything past this point will not be affected by the fact that I screwed up and essentially ended up bad-mouthing DeltaV for, like, a fucking year and a half. This will be purely my experiences on the server over the course of a week, having fun and seeing what happens and reviewing the server properly. Because DeltaV deserves a fair, proper, and completely unbiased look at a server the same way I review every other server, and it wouldn't be fair to the other servers if I just said, oh, it's great, because I felt bad. So, from here, completely fresh review, let's go. So, DeltaV is a server that is pretty solidly MRP. It is very mid-tier MRP, which, for those of you who don't know, MRP denotes how much people roleplay involving a situation. This does not declare the level of shenanigans you'll find on the server. For example, RMC, MRP, low shenanigans. People mostly play the game, they roleplay as the game, you're not going to experience high variance or high chaos. Funky Station, MRP, a lot of shenanigans. There is constantly some random bullshit happening because some random fucking titer decided, fuck it, I'm going to do a dumbass gimmick this round. Or a fucking, death cage thing. Yeah. Anyways, DeltaV is pretty solidly low to medium, but mostly low shenanigans. There's not a lot of people doing random bullshit and fucking around. Which, if that's your preference, there you go. It's a mostly gameplay-focused server where people don't really spend too often intentionally fucking around. To add on to this, and this is something that I do consider to be a bit of a problem. A lot of rounds can feel like green shifts. For reference, I have recorded 7 rounds and played a few other half rounds just when I had the spare 40 minutes of my day to just fuck around and play on whatever. And most of the rounds I played, for reference, 6 out of 7, which, God, I wish those weren't the numbers, but 6 out of 7 rounds I attempted to record, of them, 2 of them were good. This is one of the 2 of the ones that was good because it had actual stuff happening. Every other round, was just kind of job simulator slop. Yeah, pretty bad job simulator slop. Which, for the unaware, job simulator slop, I say when I want to refer to a server that really doesn't have any unique content going outside or going on throughout the round besides the basic station jobs. So, departmental shit. I will also say that this is a bad thing generally, because antags are supposed to spice up the round. If antags aren't doing that, that's a problem. And I think this isn't a gameplay issue, but more so a server culture thing. Like, okay, let me explain this by comparing this to Omu Station. Omu Station, you might just have some guy take fucking like carp jujitsu and just start fucking beheading half the crew for the hell of it. Which, you know, if you like that, good. If you don't, you're not gonna like that. Preference thing. Which, thank fuck, there's a billion servers now, because back when it was just Delta and Wisden, oh boy, those are our options. The fucking shit show that is Wisden, or the fucking kind of low nothing burger stuff of Delta, which is pretty much the memory I experienced a year and a half ago. Which, yeah. Anyway, tangent aside, the low anti-gameplay results in rounds that feel like green shifts. Green shifts being rounds where anti do literally fucking nothing. These rounds are bad, just straight up bad, and I don't think there's really an argument for that or against that. Are those rounds occasionally good? Yes, when the game mode decides it. When the game mode picker decides a very rare green shift or blue shift is going to happen, blue shift being what people call survival, then that is completely fine because that's a rarity. However, 10 syndicate agents are on board. 7 of them decide to not do their shit, and 3 of them do their goals and then do nothing else for the rest of the round. That is a problem. Antagonists are supposed to make chaos, and so a board security is awful to roleplay with. And it also makes it so that people think, oh, let's just throw nukies at the problem. Nukies isn't interesting. Also, minor tangent, I find it funny that despite me playing Cabbage instead of Peach Changer, I'm still being referred to as Cabbage. And, you know, like I'm being referred to as Peach. I've upgraded from a fruit to a vegetable comparison. Great. Or is that a downgrade? I don't know. Anyways. DeltaV, though, the low anti-gameplay doesn't really support itself very well. And I think that's kind of... Okay, I think there's a 3-pronged attack causing this issue. First prong, the map design could use some work. I don't know if you've noticed as I've been walking around, but this map design is very bare bones, very claustrophobic, and doesn't lend itself well for random spontaneous chaos. Like, the lobby of security, the front desk, is its own separate room. The hallways are very straight and to the point, with not a lot of wideness or departments bleeding into the hallways they're outside of. For example, chemistry's front desk on most stations is outside. It's outside of chem, and it bleeds into the hallway properly. If you look at Fland, this also happens with engineering, science, and the bar. However, this does not take place on Delta, and I do think that kind of ends up causing this weird issue where people just kind of don't attempt to go anywhere to roleplay. There's no spot on several of Delta's maps I've noticed where it's go here if you want to fuck around. The fucking around mostly happens sporadically in the hallways, which is normal, but there's no designated fuck around spot, which I think there should be on pretty much every station, a designated fuck around spot. Anyways, the next prong. There's a bit of a meta clicking issue. Okay. For reference, I have attempted to roleplay a couple different characters. I have tried my usual bitchy asshole personality. I'm trying it in this video, except... Actually, no, I'm just trying it in this video. Or in the footage that you're seeing. Yeah. This footage is me bitching about, command, not being safe, trying to remain logical, but still being a very disgruntled, very vocal employee. I'm not trying to cause, mass issues, because Like, again, I don't know the server culture, so I don't know if that would be accepted and people would enjoy that or not. So I'm just not trying. I've also tried a complete nice character. I've tried to play an idiot. I've tried to play a fair mix of characters. None of them besides the bitchy one, which this is because I end up beefing with someone, which is always fun. But yeah. This ends up causing a whole thing where it's like, where if you aren't part of the meta clique, you just don't get to roleplay. I've tried to butt into conversations before about something with like, oh yeah, I heard it in, man, and all that shit. Completely ignored. They just kept roleplaying with each other. This isn't a major issue, and it's not an issue at every round I found, but it does happen quite often. Yeah, anyway. From there, I want to talk about the main unique content of Delta. That being its psionics. Now, I have not interacted with the psionics system itself, like as a member of the science division, but from what I've seen so far, it's quite interesting. It's actually sort of similar to anomalies, except they're per person, and Glimmer is how it's calculated. For reference, Glimmer plays into science's entire game loop perfectly. Also, it's called epistemics, and it's called and research director is called the mystagogue in Delta, but I'm just gonna call them RD and Psi because I don't fucking care. Anyways, so the way it works is Glimmer is a situation that affects like everything on the station and how all of the systems work. Basically, if you have a lot of Glimmer, weird shit's gonna start happening. Enemies are gonna start spawning in, and the longer they're alive, the more Glimmer happens, causing a runaway cascade that eventually dooms the station in a completely natural way. This functions basically the same way to the anomalies, except honestly it functions better. Here's the thing. An anomaly spawns if it spawns in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, because it can spawn literally anywhere on the map, then it results in a cascade that causes the station to die, or station to have a permanent debuff, such as shadows everywhere, or some random guy getting jumped by like 20 chem slimes and mains. Shit like that, right? But the way Glimmer works is if Glimmer gets too high, the science department can take actions to lower it. There's a lot of interesting ways they can deal with it, and for reference, I'm just paraphrasing here, because I don't understand the system and I haven't interacted with it. This is just what I've gleaned from just watching science and just reading a couple sections of the guidebook. It's really cool. And the psychic powers, really interesting as well. I've only gotten 2 because, well, they're random. They're randomly assigned to crewmates. And there's also something called the Mantis. I don't know what the Mantis is, but apparently, unless I'm being fucked with, the Mantis apparently is supposed to keep track of all the psychics on the station. And it's really cool, because the psychics can talk to each other. One thing I think would be an interesting game mode, Psychic Revolution. Don't know if it's a thing on Delta. Again, I'm not too familiar with it. This has been about a week of me playing on it, on and off. But what I've seen is pretty cool. I think a psychic revolution where all the psionics have to band together to take over the station by causing a Glimmer overload or something. Something that would make it some kind of antagonist to aid the whole Glimmer thing. It's pretty cool. I think could be cool. But as it stands right now, psionics are something that really kind of fits in. The 2 I've had are one that deletes familiars, so it just fucks over mime. But the other one is the one I have in this shift, a global camera thing. This is really interesting, because I could just straight up get a job with security, or Edgy, or whoever. I could say, again, having a full free range camera is as interesting as it comes. You can do whatever you want with it. It's kind of awesome, really. Yeah, so Delta's psionic system, really cool. They also have a lot of content from Goob and Starlight and Funky For example, the Cosmic Cult, which, yes, I know the Cosmic Cult is from him, but I'm pretty sure I remember Kazne, the guy who the Cosmic Cultist himself, the god of the Cosmic Cult, he makes it, saying that he's going to port the main upstream to Funky because he's been enjoying playing on Funky more or something. I don't know. I remember him saying that because I was talking with him one time. If that's not the case, then whatever. Either way, the Cosmic Cult here, there is, of course, the recommended Cindy's and shit like that, along with the Entropic Colossus, which is happening on this shift. And there's also surgery, mod suits, which more servers should have mod suits. I'm just gonna straight up be like fucking full ass straight up here. Mod suits are better than hard suits in every single way, and every server should have them. Mod suits are great. Like, why are we still using like literally EVA suits designed by NASA in something that's supposed to be in the future? Mod suits just make more damn sense. They're cool as shit as well. There's also custom suits. You can craft them on this server. Like, there's a special suit that is basically like a toned-down version of the engineering suit that lets you move at full speed, or semi-full speed, even while having it fully equipped. Pretty neat. I think that Delta's content it's really close to Wizard's Den and Starlight and not Funky in terms of the basics. It's very similar to a lot of different servers, and it does enough to differentiate itself in its Psionics. And it also doesn't be too overwhelming by shoving a million things in that kind of clash with each other. Goob. So, yeah. Delta's content, pretty good. Pretty good. So, would I recommend you play on Delta? Sure, why not? I'm not going to say it's better or worse than any other server. I think the roleplay can be a bit stuffy, and I wish personally there was more shenanigans happening, but if you'd like an MRP server where there's not very many shenanigans happening and you can mostly relax, like, I genuinely found Delta to be more entertaining and more fun when I was second screening Vox Machina, which is a show on Amazon. Like, it's not a server where you're really required to pay full attention to everything going on to enjoy it. Also, the crew lost a Nukies round to a fucking wind door, which I find extraordinarily funny. Anyways, thank you to my channel members: Modern Jedi, 202LO, Mr. X the Awesome, Nebo, Hungarian, Just a Period, Plansic, Psionics, hello, Reversed Mirror, Wakefield Age, user face this. Did I say Just a Period? But not sure I said Just a Period, Just a Period. Wakefield, user face this, Lol Chart, Soka Cat, North Starhead, Philbin, Timo. Support the show, get some cool stuff, and yeah, just support the show, you know how it be. Anyway, bye. That's it for now. See ya.